We're going to be talking about the difference between the word legal and what people may confuse that word with, which would be law. God's law in the Bible is completely contrary to the legal system. So, if we wanted to give a good example of it, there'll be the Ten Commandments: thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. God does not give you license to do these things, to go ahead and do them as long as you're willing to pay a fee. The idea of man's legal system is legal requires you to already commit an act that is unlawful. It's permission to do something that is against the law based on the idea that you have a license, that you're willing to pay a fee or a royalty for you violating a law. So their system is already based on you already in the wrong. You're using something, of course, as we've spoken about with the name, a name that makes you identified as a legal subject or something that belongs to the legal system, which is contrary to who you really are with your real name, your truthful name, your God-given name. So their system requires you to trespass in order to collect a fee or a fine. So it's already an agreement in advance to do that. That's why I find that most of the time tie-up in most of the courts is so wasteful, because the party that enters into the court is already in the wrong. He's already agreed in advance to pay a fine for the use of the name that he participates in society with. So the legal system is definitely a perversion of a really good system that God put into place, which told you directly what you could not do, and that was it, and that was the law. He did not give you a license permission to break the law as long as you're willing to pay some money. So it is a quite a perverted system that we operate into today if you are a legal participant. Now we're going to deal with how we identify, or how the legal system is kind of theorized to be. And legal is kind of a system that deals with accusatory. It's Canada's law is an accusatory system. So another word for an accusatorial system is called an adversary system. So when I read that, I'm always trying to find something that I can draw truth from out of the scripture. So when I look at the word accuse and I look at the word adversary, it brings me to scriptures in the Bible that I remember as a child being taught, but probably did not, of course, have the understanding at the level now that I would. So I'm going to take you to Revelation 12:9 and verse 10, and it says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night." We can also go to Peter, and 1 Peter 5, verse 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour." So you can see that there's clues that the system of the devil would be an accusatorial system, something that accuses, as would be the statement of birth document, which is really an accusatorial statement document that accuses the child of a trespass for the use of the name. Of course, noting it as an error, because that would be an error in law, because a child could never be able to commit a crime because of not having the ability to consent or plot out such a crime or have an intent for a crime. So the system is basically a very taxing system. And so if you look up the word to tax, it says to accuse. So you can understand that the fermenter of the plot of what we are taxed with in the legal system, the burden, the debt, everything that you're actually experiencing in legal that is opposite to the grace of Christ, would be very taxing. So let's try to place words that we are seeing in man's law or positive law or the legal system, and let's look to Scripture to give us an understanding of where we're to be on this subject matter, and whether or not we're supposed to be basically burdened by this. So hopefully the future videos that I put out on this subject matter will bring more clarity on where the relief and the escape is.